Shall we begin now, sir?
Yes, sir. We will start.
Respected Principal Dr. K. Palraj, beloved correspondent of our college, Advocate Rajadurai, Head of the Department of Zoology, Dr. G.D. Biji, who is also the Vice Principal of our college, faculty members of the Department of Zoology, members of the IQAC, participants of this webinar, good morning to one and all. So we are happy to have you all today for this national webinar on taxonomy and recent trends in the management of mosquitoes, which is organized by the Department of Zoology. Now, I request to begin this meeting, this webinar, I request the head of the department and vice principal of our college, Dr. G.D. Biji, to welcome the gathering.
Respected resource persons, Professor Dr. Chandilnathan and Dr. S. Kiruba, and beloved correspondent Advocate Rajadurai and Principal Dr. K. Palraj, IQAC Coordinator Professor T.B. Thomas, and convener of this webinar, Dr. Charlotte Baumey, professors, students, and participants. Warm good morning to all. I am extremely honored to have this opportunity to welcome you all in this webinar. Our college, Naismani Memorial Christian College, was established in 1964 to provide quality education. Beginning with a few courses, now our college has gone to provide not only graduation courses, but post-graduation as well as PhD courses. Now the student strength is about 3,800 and 188 teaching faculties are working. Department of Zoology was established in 1966 with BSc degree course in zoology. Then in 1992, we introduced MSc course in zoology. Later in 2018, Manonmaniam Sundarnar University recognized our department as a research center. Today, our department, along with the IQAC, is organized this webinar on taxonomy and recent trends in the management of mosquitoes. Webinars are helping all of us to connect ourselves from different regions. Now, today, nearly 100 participants from different colleges are participating in this webinar. Almost everyone has had the unpleasant experience of being bitten by a mosquito. Mosquito bites can cause a skin irritation through an allergic reaction. There are different species of mosquitoes which live in specific habitat and exhibit unique behavior and bite different type of animals. Mosquito bite may be transmission of serious diseases like malaria and viruses such as dengue virus and chikungunya viruses, which can lead to a disabling and potentially deadly effects. Mosquito problem may require professional pest control to ensure that all human families are safe from mosquitoes. In this difficult pandemic time, this topic is interesting and meaningful. Today, two resource persons are going to share their knowledge with us. Once again, I congratulate the organizers for organizing this webinar. First and foremost, I like to welcome our correspondent, Advocate Rajadurai. He is a promising practicing lawyer. His contribution is unique and extraordinary to this institution. We thank you for your support, love, and inspiration. We welcome you, sir. It is my honor and privilege to welcome our principal, Dr. K. Palraj. His dedication, passion, and vision are helping our college to reach greater heights. He is encouraging us to conduct such programs. We welcome you, sir. Next, I like to welcome our chief guest for today's program, Dr. Sendil Nathan, Professor, Sri Paramakalyani Center for Environmental Science, Manonmaniam Sundarnar University, Tamil Nadu. He is an outstanding researcher. He is going to give us a talk on eco-friendly products in the management of mosquitoes. We are grateful to you, sir, for accepting our invitation. We welcome you for this webinar, sir. Next, I'd like to welcome other resource person for the second session of today's program, Dr. Kiruba, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Madras Christian College, Chennai. He is going to give us a talk on environmentally savvy mosquitoes rule the roast. We are very grateful to you, sir, for accepting our invitation, and we welcome you for this webinar, sir. I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Sam Manohardas, Professor Emeritus, Scott Christian College, for helping us to arrange this webinar. We welcome you, sir. And I welcome the IQIC coordinator, Professor T.B. Thomas. He is an active and dynamic person. He is coordinating today's program. We welcome you, sir. Now I welcome Dr. Charlotte Baumey as webinar coordinator. She organized today's webinar nicely. I welcome you, madam. Finally, I heartily welcome to all the teaching staff of NMCC and the professors from other colleges and students and other participants. It is good to see you all. And once again, I welcome you all for today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G.D. Biji, for the welcome address. Now let me invite the principal of our college, Dr. K. Palraj, to give the presidential address.
Okay, thank you, sir. Respected Secretary of our college, Advocate L. Rajadurai, resource persons of the today's webinar, Dr. Sendil Nathan, Professor in Environmental Science, Center for Environmental Studies, Alvarkuruchi, Manonmaniam Sundarnar University, Tirunelveli. My beloved friend, Dr. S. Giruba, Assistant Professor of Zoology, Madras Christian College, Tampara. Head of the Department of Research Center of Zoology, who is also the Vice Principal of our college, Dr. G.D. Biji. Organizing Secretary, Dr. Charlotte Baumey. Coordinator of this today's program, IPSC Coordinator, Professor T.B. Thomas. Various participants participating this webinar, especially Dr. Sam Manohardas and other faculty members, research scholars, as students. Good morning to all of you. First of all, I wish to welcome all of you on behalf of the Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam. Today's webinar entitled on Taxonomy and Recent Trends in the Management of Mosquitoes. So concentrating on the insect mosquito. So we know the meaning of the taxonomy, which is a branch of life science, mainly concentrating the naming and identification of any living organism. Diseases are the part and parcel of every living organism, especially human beings. The causative organisms are factors responsible for the diseases among human beings, maybe due to pathogens or various environmental factors such as air, water, soil, then even accidents. All these factors are responsible for the diseases among human beings. The insects are the important aspects which will transmit the pathogenic organism from one human being to another human beings. Among the insects, mosquitoes are the important insect. Mosquitoes, which are very small flies, consist of about 3,500 species. There will be male mosquito and female mosquito. As per the literature, normally the male mosquitoes will feed nectars, sap of plants, water, etc. But the female mosquitoes depends on the human blood. They will survive only with the blood, because the blood is the important source of protein and amino acids, which are important nutrients necessary for the laying of the eggs. Normally, many diseases, especially malaria, dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, filariasis, even nowadays the Zika diseases. All these diseases transmitted from one person to another person by the mosquitoes. So today's webinar will enlighten us to give more ideas regarding how the mosquitoes plays important role for the transmitting the vectors from one human being to another human being, then their taxonomy, then how we can control the various diseases, or how we can control the mosquitoes. So this may be the outcome of the today's webinar. At the end of the webinars, so all of us will enriched or enlightened with the new factors or with the noble ideas. At this juncture, I especially thank our resource persons for sharing their valuable time for the benefit of the academic society. Also, I thank the organizers, head of the Department of Research Center of Zoology, Dr. G.D. Biji, then other faculty members in Zoology Department, especially Dr. Charlotte Mommy, then also Professor T.B. Thomas, who is collaborating this program. Usually, during this endemic period, the IQS is playing important role for the conducting the academic events. So today also they are arranging this program. Then especially I thank all the participants. I think more than 115 participants all over from India are participating at this webinar. So I thank one and all. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Principal, for those nice words of introduction as presidential address. Now we come to the real part of the program, the talk by the resource persons. But before they begin their talk, let me invite the webinar convener, Dr. Charlotte Bami of the Department of Zoology, to introduce the resource persons to all of us.
Good morning. Warm welcome to this webinar. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce our resource person, Dr. S. Nathan, Professor, Sri Paramakalyani Center for Excellence in Environmental Sciences, Manonmaniam Sundarnar University, stationed at Alvakuruchi. He is a devout researcher striving towards the development of alternative sustainable agriculture and pest management, paving way to environmental protection. His research area involves the utilization of natural resources, plants and microbes, which are natural repositories for a wide array of assorted bioactive compounds towards the management of both agricultural pests and medicinally important vectors. He is the principal investigator of a number of CSIR, DST, DBT, and UGC projects. He completed his PhD in animal science on biopesticides and insect toxicology in 2000. He worked as assistant professor at the postgraduate and research department of biotechnology, Vivekananda College, Periyar University, Tamil Nadu. He worked as postdoctoral research scientist at the Department of Environmental Engineering, Chanbuk National University, Republic of Korea during 2003 to 2006. He served as the visiting professor at Louisiana State University Agricultural Center, Baton Rouge, USA during 2011 to 2012. He was the syndicate member of Manonmaniam Sundarnar University during 2017 to 2018. He got 2 Young Scientist Awards, one under RGYI DBT Government of India 2009 and another under Fast Track DST Government of India 2010. He received 2 Best Faculty Awards from VICAS Periyar University in 2002 and 2003. He has to his credit positions such as subject editor, associate editor, and editorial board member of many prestigious journals. He has published more than 132 peer-reviewed papers with total citations of 5,163. Total impact factors of published papers is 469.92 with an average of 2.9 per paper, and his H index score is 41. He has so far got research grants worth 2 crores, 23 lakhs and 59,000 through 7 projects. With these words, I welcome our resource person, Dr. S. Senthilnathan, for his presentation on eco-friendly products in the management of mosquitoes. On behalf of the Zoology Department and IQAC of Nezamani Memorial Christian College, Markandam, I'm happy to welcome such a resource person to this webinar. Let us look forward to a session useful to all the delegates, and you can interact with Dr. Senthilnathan at the close of the session. I hand over the session to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Before starting this seminar, say a few words about that. So it's a great pleasure during the pandemic situation, especially the most of our online classes and peoples are unable to attend the face-to-face in classes. So these webinars and other contact classes are motivated the students. So it's really encouraging thing. So before starting that, let me thank the college management authority and peoples who's responsible for this. So that means the secretary of this college, beloved advocate Raju sir, and the principal of this college, Dr. Palraj sir, and Dr. Biji, the vice principal and head of the department of zoology, and Professor D.P. Thomas, organizing secretary. And apart from that, so without hands, the seminar is not possible. So that's organizing committee members, especially their valuable input is very important. So I congratulate and thank for organizing such a wonderful thing, especially Dr. Jayachandra and Dr. Rajan, Uday Kumar and Dr. Premjit and Professor Adeline Emeritus. And then last but not least, Dr. Charlotte, who is always communicating with me in several occasions and during her busy schedule. And initially, I have trouble with that for fixing the date, but she later on she convinced me to get appointment and arrange this wonderful seminar. Is really appreciated. So with that few words, I can straight away start the seminar. So which is really I prepared for that student as well as social population, especially people should know the mosquito. Apart from that, professors and scientists and beloved person who are very familiar with that mosquito. So let me give basic information along with that feasibility of control of this mosquito along with the classification. So let me give a brief introduction. Also, students or other members really interact with me. Whatever you have doubts, that's very most welcome during the seminar. Thank you. Okay. So then I'll start my seminar. So I'll start to present the PowerPoint. So I hope the slides are visible right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So the point is eco-friendly product in the management of mosquitoes, right? Because there are several questions. So what is mosquitoes and how it is breed, and what are the importance for eco-friendly product of the management of mosquito. So let me see one by one, because you know that mosquitoes are greatly a nuisance for human being. Apart from that, biting transmit several diseases, deadly diseases for the human being as well as other animals. So that is problematic for human society, so that it spread infection by so before that, especially the mosquitoes are called as a vector. What is the vector? What is the vector? So vector that can transmit any disease or act as a barrier, transmit diseases to the human as well as livestock, wild animal, pets, whatever it may be. So there's several vectors are available, and that's included sandflies, ticks, midges, and mosquitoes. So the mosquitoes are prime most important vector which transmit diseases, right? So major vectors that include mosquitoes, ticks, fleas, mouse, bug, and bat. So mosquitoes can spread any type of disease, act as a vector, especially chikungunya, yellow fever, dengue, malaria, and so many things. And ticks usually, which is live in the pet animal, which we are adopted in our home, that also indirectly spreading the disease. And flea and mouse. So you know that mouse in late 17th century and 16th century, which was the prime most important vector which transmit plague, the responsible for several million deaths of human beings. And bugs and bat, you know that bat, recently the COVID situation. So SARS and coronavirus was originated in the bat. People believe that from the China. So these are all the prime most important major vector, and so that transmit a lot of diseases. The slide shows that what are the important vector-borne disease which caused by that mosquito, especially these flies and the snails and other ticks. So, but I'm concentrating on mosquito. The mosquitoes are responsible for transmitting diseases like a chikungunya by Aedes. Later on, I will tell the morphological and classification of mosquito. Then chikungunya, dengue, malaria, yellow fever, and lymphatic filariasis. So these are the major diseases which spread by the mosquito. Here, so why we are talking about the mosquito? Because several people are and millions and millions of research grants been dumping for the research purpose. So which makes most attract to these mosquito? Because you know that, so this is a deadly animal which transmit the diseases. So nearly more than 5,80,000 human beings are ultimately dying to these mosquitoes. The disease shot the victim of that. For example, snake bite, which leads to 60,000 deaths all over the world in the year, and sandfly, dogs, and bugs, snails, scorpion, tapeworm, hippopotamus, and elephant, bees, jellyfish, shark, whatever it may be. But these stands #1 position for the death of human beings. That's why humans our research areas are prioritized for the control of mosquito. And here, this is hard to believe because the first organism that resemble the mosquitoes are thought to have developed in 200 million years. So we don't know. This is approximate calculation. So Alexander the Great, conqueror of many nations, was vanquished by the bite of teeny mosquito. Some people believe that, right? Who controlled who was controlled the world? Because you know that he was a great warrior, but unfortunately, the malaria did the end of that warrior. So here, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are killed more humans than other creatures, I said in previously, occur in every continent except in Antarctica, because you know that Antarctica almost in a -degree centigrade animal, these flies can't live with that temperature. The mosquito account for majority of the transmitter of major diseases, which I said, dengue fever, chikungunya, yellow fever, malaria, filariasis, West Nile virus recently, and elephantiasis, and now Zika. So Zika is actually people think that it's originated from African countries. That is a mystery. Still, it is a mystery for that. But Zika spreaded all over the world like anything. The World Health Organization has declared the mosquito as public enemy #1. Then here, so the people start thinking like that all the mosquitoes are blood-sucking devil, but it is not like that. Female mosquito only transmit the diseases. So male are feeding on the nectar of plant. So the female mosquito need a damp blood bite before laying the eggs. So that's exclusively it need. Otherwise, it can't lay any egg, or it can't able to produce its offspring. This is because they need the protein from the blood meal. So blood produce the egg. Male mosquitoes feed on only plant nectar. Mosquitoes can fly about 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. So imagine with that, though, it can be migrate one place to another place very easily. An adult mosquito can live more than 5 months. So the longevity itself has a big problem for human being. A mosquito wing beats about 300 to 600 times per second. So it should be updated with the students' file. So male mosquitoes find females by listening to the sounds of the wing beating. So the 3,000 mosquito species found in the world are divided among 28 different genera, in which about hundreds are vector for the human disease. So all mosquitoes are not responsible for the disease transmitting, only 100 are vectors for human beings. So here there are 3 genera of medicinally important. So medically important one is Aedes mosquito, which has ban on that in their proboscis. So you know that insects can have that 3 different parts: head, thorax, and abdomen. So the abdomen is having a striped band, and Culex mosquito, and then Anopheles mosquito, right? So Anopheles later on. So here, so public information point of view, vector-borne diseases threat to the human beings and as well as agriculture, right? So one bite can enough to transmit malaria, dengue, Zika, chikungunya, yellow virus that include leishmaniasis, Chagas disease, Lyme disease, and schistosomiasis and typhus. So nearly 3.9 billion people are at risk of contracting these diseases. 96 million dengue cases per year. Billions of dollars are dumping every year globally, accounting death, disability time, and countermeasures. So 700,000 of death caused by these diseases every year. That may be increased year by year. So death from vector-borne diseases nearly. So this is a geographical location of the mosquito, which severity of diseases, especially African scenario. The death rate is significantly increased when compared with the Middle East and Asia and America. So especially in America, the South America has more victims than North America. And apart from that, India and Pakistan, Afghanistan, and somewhat in Indonesia, Korea, and other places. So this is a geographical location where the disease is causing a problem. So mosquito-borne diseases, right? I said before that 700 million infections and yellow. So that is malaria cause stand first in the last century, especially in 19th century. 65% children are under 15. So it is children are more susceptible than the adult. So then now Zika is spreading like anything. WHO state of emergency in the year of middle of 2016 because of the Zika virus. So and we should know, and you should very well aware about that. What are the mosquito breeding sites where the water stagnant more than 48 hours? That is a great location for the mosquito, which can breed beautifully. So here So a lot of things. It's used tires which dumped in the place, and used vessels and abandoned vessels and ditches and wells which is uncovered, and other parts and other plastic materials which throw away from the home, left it as unattended. And then mosquito habitat breeding site itself. So the water which can stay again for more than 48 hours is the ideal place to breed any type of mosquito. So even fresh water and also the dirty water. So this is a breeding site exclusively. So then, yeah, point. And coming to that, so people may wonder about that, how the mosquito can identify the human being, then other particles, which is not in like plastics and vessels and like that. So we are the responsible, and sometimes some mosquito are preferring one person than the other person. What is the reason behind it, right? So eventually we are sitting in the railway station or in public place. So some person receive more bites than the other person. So there are several reasons behind it, right? So these mosquito can attract more by, there are several criteria on that: scent and sight and heat. So heat and scent are primary important aspect in the case of attraction of mosquito. So scent, they can sense carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide, the CO2, is the primary aspect which attracts the mosquito. The person who's having a more heat on the body is having a preferable animal for the mosquito to bite. So then the person who's having less heat, that means producing less carbon dioxide, right? So they can sense carbon dioxide, ammonia, and aliphatic carboxylic acid and lactic acid. So these are the responsible that can smell within 10 to 15 feet away. So sights. So because you know that insects are always having a compound eye, so that can easily see by from this distance of 5 to 15 meters, the mosquito locks into the visual layer and that get even very closer to identify its victim. So heat less than a meter, it can detect your body heat. So and then it now well recognized that the mosquito release and the host body pheromone which attract the other females, right? So here the looks like a, it's like a saw, right? So antenna and labella and maxillae pubilla and proboscis. So these are the important mouth parts of the mosquito. So CO2 and skin odor, which both activate CO2 receptor in the mosquito part, which have a receptor. The receptor is the most important towards finding its victim, right? So here, many species of mosquitoes are not blood eaters, I said before, and they are all having a different autogenes, especially Toxorynchies. So typically both male and female mosquito feed on nectar and plant juices, but in many species of mouth parts of the females are adapted for piercing. So piercing and sucking. So animal hosts that sucking their blood as ectoparasites, right? So we know that ectoparasite and endoparasite. Then genus Aedes and Anopheles, and partially endogenous, it's called many Culex. Human blood rich in amino acid, isoleucine, threonine, and the cholesterol. So these are the make the animal for the fertile. So that means laying the egg. So here, difference between male and female mosquitoes, as I said previously. So females are very important, which transmit the diseases and also which can feed the blood from the host is only by the female. So female mosquito is the large one. So visually you can identify female mosquito has longer proboscis, that means mouth parts, and male mosquitoes are more bushy antenna, so like a human male. So male has a palps as long as proboscis in over longer, low pitched whiny buzz indicating female mosquito. ஸோ நம்ம காதுகிட்ட வந்து எந்த மஸ்கிட்டோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு விகரஸாக சவுண்டு போடுதோ, தட்ஸ் கால்ட் ஃபீமேல் மஸ்கிட்டோ மோஸ்ட் ப்ராபப்லி. ஸோ ஹியர், ஸோ மேஜர் மஸ்கிட்டோ வெக்டார்ஸ் அவைலபிள் த்ரூ அவுட் தி வேர்ல்ட். There is Aedes in case, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. So these two are very important Aedes species. And Anopheles, we know that importantly, Anopheles stephensi and Anopheles philippaniasis and Sapictus and Crucifacius. These are the important species of Anopheles and Anopheles. And Culex quinquefatius is important mosquito which transmit are responsible for transmit more diseases than other species. So life cycle. So you know that or as like other diphtheria insect or other insect, it has a full metamorphosis. That means complete metamorphosis. That is adult, egg, larvae, pupae, and again change it to the adult. So most of these animal young stage are in the aquatic stage. So water or aquatic media is very essential for its breeding. So without these aquatic media, these animal can't reproduce or can't survive. That's why we are insist to eradicate the wastewater, the water stagnant place, to make it very uncomfortable for these animals. So the length time of this entire life cycles depend on the species, temperature, available of the food and everything. So here, so Anopheles eggs are laid singly. So please identify the differentiation between each and every species of mosquito which is responsible for transmitting the diseases. So Anopheles eggs are laid singly and possess floats. What in the water surface it possesses floats. And all Aedes lay their eggs singly on the ground at or above the water line, never possess the floats. So it doesn't have any floats. Culex eggs are deposited in raft, a bunch of things are 100 or more, like that, right? So this makes a difference between a particular species of mosquito. Right here, Anopheles eggs laid singly, boat-shaped, possess a lateral floats. Aedes eggs laid singly, cigar-shaped, no lateral floats, and hence it is zig. And Culex is a rafted egg are cigar-shaped, but laid in a rafted shaped cluster. No lateral floats are available. So here, so all larval stages are depending upon the aquatic media which swim, which feed on algae and other diatoms and everything in the pond or in the aquatic media. Mosquito feed on yeast, bacteria, protozoa, and numerous other plants. And sometimes this is still it is a mystery what exactly these animals feed. So this is $1 million question. But eventually we identified as scientists are explored. So the possible food material for this animal is yeast, bacteria, protozoa, and other plants. It's tiny plants, algae, and microorganisms. Some of them are surface feeders, which may be browse over the bottom. Larval development ranged from 5 to 7 days, and sometimes it is 7 to 14 days in tropical condition, depending upon the heat. So here, the water surface, Aedes, and Anopheles, and Culex down. So all larvae have a short, long siphon and subtend an angle for the water surface. So here, so this is a pupal stage. Pupal stage is always floating in a particular place. If you are disturbing that the particular pupa, that will be move vigorously. So pupal stage is like a dormant stage. It never feed on that any type of food material. So pupa don't feed, but spend most of the time at the water surface, taking the air through the respiratory trumpets. So when disturbed, they will swim up and down in jerky fashion. Easily, you can identify this is a pupa of particular mosquito species. So this is a typical almost 25. That means 500 μm magnification. So this is a typical a group of pupal stage. So here I said adult, egg rafted, and then larvae, pupae, and adult. So here, so I already said that the eggs are deposited in the damp surface and old automobile tires and whatever the material where the waters are stagnant. And in tropical climate, larvae are also encountered in a natural water retaining cavities in tree holes and other herbaceous plant where the more species are viable, right? So then the eggs of Sorry. So that the eggs of Aedes aegypti can resist desiccation for 1 year. So please imagine that can be like a aestivation or dormitory stage, which can live for or which can alive for 1 year. So please, so aware about that. These mosquito can breed anytime, any climatical situation. So eggs hatches which floated by the water, that is deoxygenated. Larvae die at a temperature below 10 degree and above 44 degrees Celsius. That's very prime important. And here Aedes, right? So geographical location of Aedes. So nearly it is almost enjoying a cosmopolitan in nature, which distributed all the Africas, Americas, and Asias, including Middle East and everything, and some part of Western Australia, and sometimes very rare in case of New Zealand. So this is the life cycle of egg. 1 day of egg stage, and larvae last about 4 days, and pupa 4 days, and adult. So adult female lays egg inside the water, and adult with the blood meal can able to lay the eggs. So here disease transmitted by Aedes is about dengue, primary dengue, then chikungunya, and yellow virus species, yellow virus, and Zika virus recently, and West Nile virus, Eastern NQ encephalitis, right? And then Anopheles. Anopheles stephens exclusively breed on fresh waters, right? So this is also enjoying more than a cosmopolitan situation in all over the world, right? So nearly life cycle is about same things as like eggs, 1 day larva existence, then 4 days of pupa, and 4 days of pupa and larva, and then adult taking a food for blood meal, and then going for laying the eggs. So this is transmitted by the Anopheles. So it is it transmitted several diseases, including Plasmodium, which is the primary responsible for the transmitting the malaria. Even we find a lot of solution to cure the malaria, but sometimes it is fatal. So and then Ucheria branchiofti, that's called encephalitis, and filariasis, and Ross virus, especially in African scenario, Catch Valley virus, and Nyong virus in the case of Middle East. Here, Culex. It's the same situation. It's also enjoying a cosmopolitan nature, and especially different strains are distributed throughout the world. So the same like that, the egg stage leads to 4 molting stage in larvae, 7 days, and pupa is 2 days. In the adult, take a full blood meal and lay the eggs. So more or less, these mosquitoes are having the same life history and the same type of developmental stage, a complete metamorphosis. And then these are the main important disease which transmitted by the Culex, right? So especially Japanese encephalitis virus, West Nile virus, and St. Louis encephalitis virus, West Eastern equine encephalitis virus. So this is a prime vector which transmit all the encephalitis virus. So be cautious about that. And Culex pipiens complex. So this is a different things. And here, so I have ended with that. Really a classification situation, what is meant by mosquito and how it is breeded, what are the size and what are the its habitat, like that. Now I am passing to the mosquito control, but even with that, so there are a lot of chemicals are available to control the mosquito. We are using for a body lotion, we are using mosquito coil, we are using some other vapor system, and sometimes we are using some other chemical to spray. But eventually, the killing of larvae is more easier than the killing of mosquito adult. So the adult has its own migratory power. So it has a great adaptation to get rid of the pesticides and the other items we are spraying in the air. So it is eventually possible to killing more than 90% of larvae in its habitat. So that is a point which we are take it in our knowledge before going for the control measures of the mosquito, right? So here are the points: prevention and control mosquito-borne diseases. So this is called integrated vector management. So that's called IVM, and sometimes integrated management of mosquito. That's called IMM. So indoor residual spray, biocontrol agent, and source of reduction. So vector control through the HRD, GIS, and MNE. Supportive intervention and early diagnostic is very, very important for the effective mosquito management system. Here, how to prevent mosquitoes in your yard, especially in backyard or the open drainage system in front of your water. So the stagnant water is always be problematic for, and also the mosquito enjoy the system where the drainage is open and where the water is stagnant in conditions, right? So that is a that is an important point in which if we are going for a control of a mosquito, we should know about that. So where are the place in which the mosquitoes are living? And that means especially larvae are breeding, right? So points to be considered: remove standing water always. That is a prime most important point you should have to consider. Then fix water leakers whenever there, and protect and clean pools and ponds in regular intervals. And clean bird bath once in a week. That means bird bath. That means where if you are leaving some water for your pet animal or birds, you should have to take care of that bowls to clean regularly. Then clean rain gutters and install repair screens on the windows and doors. Always to use the mesh or some screens to prevent the entry of adult mosquito in your home. Remove or tip cover water collection objectives and keep lavin trimmed always. Here, integrated mosquito management, I said IMM, right? So actually, I'm a little talking about the eco control product, but however, for the last 2 decades, they are using several classical insecticide rather than mosquito-side agents that will lead to a lot of problem for the environment, that will skew or leave the skews to the environment. That is having a great problem for the human being, especially it causes a lot of carcinogenesis human being and contaminated water, and also sometimes airs are contaminated and water also contaminated. So to avoid a particular pesticides, so we are taking an integrated mosquito management or integrated vector management, right? So IMM is a program in which involves the following 4 steps. It can fight against the Aedes mosquito, because so I would say the Aedes is very important than the other mosquito, but I'm not sure about that. And I am not sure about that. So those remaining mosquitoes are very separate. It's not like that, but these Aedes are prime most important, which transmit the several type of diseases. That means you should have to give a more important for this particular species, right? Eliminate mosquito breeding site and thermal fogging or ULV misting and larvicidal treatment, and use adult mosquito traps always which emit a CO2. There are a lot of machinery tools are developed to catch artificially. They can create the heat and artificially they can create the carbon dioxide so that the mosquito can be attracted and you can destroy by collecting the adult mosquito. Here, recent trend in mosquito control. What are the happens on the recent years to control the mosquito? But see, the point is, even if you are developing a lot of mosquito sites and lot of control measures, these mosquitoes are getting more resistant or having a power to overcome such a mosquito control program. So here, mosquito control methods, which include environmental management, solid waste management, and chemical control, which is the least important. So I would say that chemical control should be take it at last, even if you are not able to control such a type of mosquitoes. So first thing, environmental management, environmental modification, environmental manipulation, and change to the human habits or behavior. So environmental modification means to avoid to release more heat or avoid releasing more heat generating agent. And manipulation, don't avoid the nature of the ecosystem that is creating a lot of problem for that. So leave as such for the natural condition. change to the human habitation. So sometimes we are changing our habitat. For example, making a large amount of chimneys and large amount of heat generating system that will attract the mosquito. Solid waste management. So for example, human beings are thinking like that. And so I can say that humans are the first culprit for the worldwide, because we people are thinking like we are the only person or only animal or only person living in the earth apart from that other species and animals. But all animals and other living species, including trees, having equal rights to live in this earth. So that is very primordial important. So avoid to consume too much natural resources. That's very important point. So use as much as possible reduced or consume the nature power very low, and do not alter the environment, or use, reduce, reuse, and recycle as much as possible to avoid the more dumping of solid waste, and appropriate disposal practice. Always don't throw the material in outside your houses or outside your working place or outside the area. That will eventually a great container for mosquito breeding. And also cleaning purpose, street cleaning is also very important. So keep the environment in very clean condition, which avoid the mosquito. And then lastly, we can use the larvicide and reduced habitats, either chemical control or biological agents. So here, so what you can do or don't do, right? Check your out weekly for water filled containers. Throw away or recycle water holding containers that are not absolutely not essential for your condition. If empty containers or large objects are available, such as boards or old appliances, and must be stored with inverter, they should be covered, turned over. Boats or old appliances must be stored. Clean and scrub bird bath and pet watering dishes, especially I said previously. Fill 3 holes, whatever the holes are available, which having a capacity to store the water, or other cavities in the plants, sand or oil. Check for hidden bodies of water such as wells, septic tanks, and manholes and clogged drainage. Whatever the material you are keeping outside should be covered thoroughly. That is very important when you're taking measure of controlling mosquito. So preventing or reducing dengue virus transmission depend on entirely controlling of mosquito vectors, and spraying with chemical pesticide are largely ineffective nowadays, because all the mosquitoes are getting resistant. They are almost overcoming all the insecticide, pesticides, and whatever you are spraying. So they have a great capacity to overcome. So it is very important, and take measures in your knowledge. That means you should have to control the mosquito by your cultural practice. Mostly 90%. Spraying with potentially toxic compound also challenging, since Aedes is breeds where the people do botanical extract. Nowadays we are working on that, developing a eco-friendly formulation which is safer to the environment, safer alternative to the method. So use essential oils and biological control agents for controlling the mosquito. So coming to the how we can control this mosquito, by apply the natural material or applying the natural biological control agent, predators, vice versa. So very importantly, the scientists are found that Gambusa affinis, a mosquito fish, is important predator which consume all the larvae, which can easily, if you are introducing this particular fish in the field, that can nearly per day it can eat more than 1,000 to 1,500 mosquito larvae in the breeding site. And then next thing is, it's already invented, it's called Bacillus thuringiensis israeliensis, which is exclusively a bacterial derived protein, a crystal protein that can kill the mosquito if it is consumed. So larvicide that kills a mosquito during the larval stage because it's binding with the gut, so that osmotic balance is changed in condition. Always, and almost these larvae can able to feed their breeding site. Eventually, it will die. So occurring bacterium in the soil, this is available in the soil. This product kills larvae by damaging the digestive system, not only digestive system, so entire gut system. So then, other thing is 4-star, bricules and granular. I said that. So not only Bacillus sphaericus, the majority of the Bacillus thuringiensis, especially in subspecies Israeliensis. And then attractive toxic sugar. These species combination of fruit extract with the formula act as a bite to attract the mosquito, search for a sugar meal and encapsulate it with garlic and the gut toxin. Then, so this is an important predator in the same species, which is called Toxorynchies is called as a toxo. So this is usually large mosquito, looks like 4 or 6 times bigger than this particular mosquito. So usually large mosquitoes, the wingspan is about 12 millimeter, that is about 4 inches. Body length may exceed 7 mm, 0.2 inches. 4th instar larvae can more than 2 centimeter in length. One taxo species larvae requires approximately 5,000 first instar prey larvae and 300 fourth instar prey larvae, which is a beautiful creature on the biocontrol of that mosquito. Then second thing is, we may know that that's a Ordinata, a great and beautiful animal, which is almost live in that any type of environment. So we may see a particular animal in a gloomy condition, where the mild climatic region are somewhat in the morning season and the evening conditions, right? So, but unfortunately, humans are a great enemy for that particular ordinates, especially dragonfly and damselfly, because which is very sensitive for the pesticides and insecticides, which kill the aquatic young one. So avoid to spray particular pesticides, insecticides, so that enable a particular animal, which is a great predator for the mosquito. So dragonflies are violent hunters. That means very fast hunters for the mosquitoes. So the adult can prey the adult mosquito. The young one, which is having aquatic life, can prey in the aquatic conditions of larvae. So these dragonflies are violent hunter for the insects, and mosquitoes are definitely on the menu, right? Exclusive menu. The dragonflies larvae lives in the water like a mosquito, same like that, same situation. Larvae and feed on them, while adult dragonflies eat adult mosquito, like a hawk hunt. The life cycle of ordinates is very long, and the nymphal stage may last about 1 year or more, consisting 10 to 15 nymphal instar between egg and amigo. So this is a prime most important predator for the mosquito. Then bat. So comparatively, it is less significant when compared with other biological control agent, but it is also a vital control agent for the adult mosquito, especially during the night hunt. It can predate more than 1,000 mosquito adults during the night. So the role of bat is suppressing agriculture pests as well as documented, but fortunately, we have also documented that these type of bat can able to eat the adult mosquito. So that means 600 mosquito per hour. So imagine it per entire evening. That means 12 hours in the night. So then, most importantly, recently the biotechnologists and scientists are found that sterile insect technique that's called SIT. So the method of biological insect control. So what mechanism involved in this SIT is mass rearing of insect take place in a special facilities, where a special chamber in which male and female insects are separated and given a radiation, so that the animals is going to sterile, especially male insects. So that gamete is not viable. So gamete is available, but it's not viable. So sterile male insects are released over the towns or cities where the potential females are live. When they compete with the wild males to mate with the females, the offsprings are laying the eggs, but the laid eggs is unable to hatch. That means it is sterile in nature. So this is a more vital techniques which has been introduced very recently, and almost 90% success rate has been obtained. So here, the conclusion, what I said. So molecular techniques are developed recently and closer to the field use, especially these SIT techniques are almost closer to the field efficacy and might be appropriate to be considered first. The prospects of genetic control method against the mosquito vector human disease is rapidly becoming reality, but it is under investigation. However, made on national, regional, and international level of recognition, biosafety, social culture, and ethical aspect, use and deployment of these vector control methods are very important. So the human beings should consider the potential method for controlling the mosquito in their hand. So they should be very cautious for if you are going for a mosquito control. So you should have to precaution while you are using the material or consuming the natural resources and maintaining such a containers and maintaining other resources limitedly, and be cautious, and also very limit the usage of pesticide, insecticide, and aerosol, which is chemically derived, and especially you can use more botanical derivatives. I said that. So I forgot to add some few slides depending upon the conditions. But however, there are a lot of botanical insecticides are available in the market, especially essential oils, eucalyptus and glow oil and neem-based pesticides are essentially we are using to kill the particular mosquito larvae, not an adult. And also neem smoke or neem vaporizers are used nowadays that can eradicate the mosquito or killing the adult mosquito. That is ecologically acceptable, very safe. So with that points, I'm come to a conclusion for the control of mosquitoes and through the eco-friendly. And apart from that, humans should take care of the precautions and apply appropriate methodology to the control of mosquito, especially in oriented with nature. Thank you. Let me pose the questions from the audience.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. Now it's time for questions. The audience, if you want to ask questions directly, you may use the hand raise option in the Zoom, or you can put your questions in the chat box. I request the webinar convener and the head of the department.
So someone can read the questions posted
in
the chat box so that I can answer it.
Yes. So the participants may put your questions in the chat box now.
Especially students community, really whatever you can use bilingual, you can ask in any languages, English or Tamil, whatever it may be, no problem at all. Whatever the questions you have in your mind, please pose it and ask it so I can answer it as much as possible.
There is one question from Madam Tamil Selvi. Which pH value of water induces mosquitoes to breed effectively?
Yeah, especially, sir, the salt water is especially more than 7. So acid condition, the mosquito won't prefer acid condition, right? Our neutral pH are less than that. So more salinity is more inducible.
There is another question from P. Martin, sir. Sir, doesn't Culex also cause filariasis?
Especially, but Culex is not like that. So, but there is no report on that.
Bami madam, is there any other questions which you? I think Professor Ragul, Mr. Ragul wants to ask a question. Sir, you may unmute and ask.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, please.
Yes, sir. I want to ask a question regarding mosquitoes, sir.
Please.
That is, humans are various type of blood groups like B positive, A positive, AB positive, O positive.
Yeah.
So when but if we for example by A positive blood, B positive blood on the A positive blood உள்ள மனுஷங்களுக்கு வந்து B positive blood வந்து இது ஏத்த முடியாது, clotting அதெல்லாம் happen ஆகும். இப்ப மஸ்கிட்டோ வந்து ஒரு A positive blood group உள்ள ஒரு ஹியூமனை பைட் பண்ணி பிளட்டை சக் பண்ணிக்கிறது. அதே மாதிரி அது போய் ஒரு பி பாசிட்டிவோட மனுஷன் போய் பைட் பண்ணி பிளட்டை சக் பண்ணும்போது அதுக்குள்ள மஸ்கிட்டோ பாடிக்குள்ள என்ன மாதிரி பிசியாலஜிக்கல் ரியாக்ஷன்ஸ்லாம் நடக்குது சார்? எதுக்கு மஸ்கிட்டோக்கு ஒண்ணுமே ஆகுறது?
சார் ஆக்சுவலி என்ன ஆகும்னாக்கா கோயாகுலேஷன், அதாவது ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் அது immediately if it sucks, the particular mosquito sucks the blood from any type of blood group, there is no problem at all. Once it is sucks the content, enzyme content secreted by the saliva of mosquito, that can make that blood into a more rich protein content in their body, so that it won't take any reaction in their body. So that blood group doesn't make any impact on that. So immediately that converted into a full protein body in their system, so that the egg, especially during the oogenesis process, it consumes all the protein, and so that blood group doesn't make any impact on that particular animal. So that is a point.
Yes sir, thanks.
There is another question, I think, from Mr. Kishore.
Yeah, please, sir.
Kishore, sir, you can ask the question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Please.
Sir, the thing is that how far this insecticide EBR, ethylene dibromide, is useful in controlling the various mosquitoes?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, that means yeah, okay. So actually, that's are used for a very long time, right? Very long time process, and that there are plenty of report has been developed resistant against that. Nowadays, it's less than 50% of control things happen there. The recent report published in the Lancet. So nowadays, that type of chemical is not recommended.
Okay, sir. So it's not that much effective in controlling the mosquitoes?
Sir, definitely it is not very effective.
Okay. Are there any side effects by using that type of non-effective ones, sir?
Sir, actually, yeah, so far these type of chemicals is not very harmful to the human being. No evidence, but however, it has a great effect on the non-target organism. Especially, I said that Odonata and frogs and other centipedes and even earthworm, because it has a capacity to last, because it is not degraded in the soil.
Yes, sir. That's right.
When you spray in the outdoor condition, definitely
Yes,
it lasts more than 3 months in the soil, as far as the research concerned, the
Yes,
published research concerned in the Lancet. Unfortunately, it is a very it's a lead content, especially lead content from that particular pesticide, last more than 3 months with high effect, so that particular soil don't have a power to grow that microbial community and other micro invertebrates, especially centipede, millipede, and make that soil as unfertile one. That is a clear-cut evidence which they are published in recent research work.
Yes, sir. Most of they are carcinogenic also. Some of the pesticides.
Yeah. Yes.
They are more carcinogenic than this particular DDT and other particular melatonin. Okay, so
sir,
is
DDT
it carcinogenic?
is already banned. So
Yes,
nowadays, in a different form, they are existing and recommending. But
Yes,
unfortunately, what the end users are doing is they are spraying more than the recommended dose. That is a
Yes, sir,
problem.
recommended.
For example, per liter, they are recommending 2.5 ml in what type of pesticides? The Bayer, whatever the companies, Bayer, Agro, DuPont, Syngenta, whatever it may be, they are recommending doses 2.5 ml hardly per 1 liter. But unfortunately,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are need a immediate knockdown or immediate killing of particular larvae. We are using more than 5 ml to 10 ml per liter. That leads to a lot of problem for the environment. That leave a lot of skim to the environment. So we should
Yes, sir.
have to aware about that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, participants, for your questions. Because we are running short of time, we will not have any more questions for this session. We have another session also to continue now. So, on behalf of the Department of Zoology and the Integrated Quality Assurance Cell of Neshamani Memorial Christian College, I would like to thank Dr. S. Sendilnathan. I'm sure your session had thrown light on the topic that you have discussed. There are a lot of questions which shows the participants had actively participated in your presentation. Thank you so much, dear sir, for your wonderful presentation.
Okay.
Now, go ahead with the next presenter. Okay, we have Dr. S. Kiruba, Assistant Professor of Department of Zoology of Madras Christian College, Tambaram. So he is the next presenter. So before he makes his presentation, I request the webinar convener, Dr. L. Charlotte, to introduce the resource person.
So it's my immense pleasure to introduce our resource person, Dr. S. Kiruba. He is working as Assistant Professor of Zoology at Madras Christian College, Tambaram. Before he joined there, he worked in the Zoology Department of Guru Ghasidas University, Central University of Bilaspur in 2010. Besides having a stint at Anne Velangani College, Toleyavatam and VOC College, Tuticorin. He served as a member of Seminar Organizing Committee and reviewer of SCART Research Forum, Journal of Basic and Applied Biology, Journal of Applied Entomology and Nematology. He is a field biologist having widespread knowledge in the identification of butterflies, birds and fishes, sampling and data collection, statistical software, writing and presentation of reports. He has published 38 papers in journals, 9 research papers in books, and 33 papers were presented in both national and international seminars, symposia, and conferences. His popular article is A Mystery in Beaver Ants, Meet the Dina and Queen Beaver Ant. He has a total impact factor of 21.8 from 9 journals. He did his PhD in studies on the biology and management of selected pulse beetle, Calosobruchus maculatus. As a zoology professor, he is concerned to open the scientific eyes of students and direct them to see anything scientifically to become globally important scientists. With these words, I welcome our resource person, Dr. S. Kiruba, for his presentation on environmentally savvy mosquitoes rule the roost. On behalf of the Zoology Department and IQAC of Neshamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, I'm happy to welcome such a sincere, dedicated scientist, Dr. S. Kiruba. I hand over the session to you, sir.
Kiruba sir, you have to unmute your microphone. You are muted now. Dr. S. Kiruba, you are not audible. Your mic has to be switched on. Just touch on the mic symbol.
Is it audible now?
Yes, it is audible. I think you are using two systems, so it might howl if it is in the same place. You can mute one of those systems which you are using for sharing if you are using two systems. You may check now. You are still you are not audible. I think your mic is on now. Could you check
Sorry
your?
for the technical inconvenience. I hope now I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, but I think you need to keep the mic a bit closer to make it more audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thank all.
Kriba sir, you were audible earlier, but now again you are not audible. Excuse me, Dr. Kriba, you are not audible now. Dr. Kriba, you are not audible now. Can you hear me, Dr. Kriba? You are not audible. I think you have to switch on your microphone. Again, you have muted. Excuse me, sir. Kriba sir, can you hear me? You are not audible now. I think you are muted. Kindly check your audio. It is muted now. You are not audible. Kindly check the audio before you start. Now you are fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Go ahead. Hello, can I check once more your voice? Hello? Sir, now you are not audible. Kindly check whether it is muted. The mic is muted, I think. Just check.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think now it's.
Yeah. Now it is perfectly all right. Yes.
Fine.
Go ahead,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry for the technical inconvenience.
No issues, sir. You can feel free and you can go ahead. No problem.
I thank God for enabling me to stand before you in this webinar. I also thank our respected principal, esteemed correspondent, honorable vice principal, as well as Head of the Department of Zoology, IQAC Coordinator, Organizing Secretary, and all organizers associated with this webinar. I thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Let's move to the topic. The title is Environmentally Savvy Mosquitoes Rule the Roost. We may got the question, why this kind of title? Because mosquitoes are smart enough. They are very brilliant to control ourselves. If we go through the evolution, they evolved before the evolution of man. According to evolution, all the invertebrates evolved during the Paleozoic era itself. But in case of humans, according to evolution, we evolved during the Cenozoic era. Now the question arises here is, mosquito evolved before the evolution of mammals, but their main feeding, that is hematophagy, for the breeding, they need blood. So before the evolution of man, what are the food habits? What is the food habit? So it's a huge and significant challenge arising against evolution, and it's a million-dollar question to be answered. And there are non-feeding, non-blood feeding mosquitoes still we have. And here also you can see the evolutionary pattern. So about this, already Chandilnathan sir spoke a lot of things about this. So we'll move fast. So in this presentation, I will be focusing on...
Sir, sorry to interrupt in between. If you can hear me, are you sharing a screen now?
Oh.
It's not visible. So if you are sharing, kindly share once more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now fine. Yeah.
So mosquitoes are smart enough to rule ourselves, and they evolved before the evolution of man, according to the evolution. So in this presentation, I'm mostly concentrating on the adaptations which facilitate mosquitoes to be more successful. That is, we'll be concentrating on morphological, anatomical, physiological, developmental, behavioral, ecological, analytical, and psychological adaptations. We need to learn a lot of things from mosquitoes. Let's learn together. So, as mosquitoes belong to the phylum Arthropoda, they have jointed appendages, and when you compare with the lower invertebrates, they have integument with chitin that facilitate to adapt itself in the different aquatic as well as terrestrial environments. And one of the very important uniqueness of insect, if you go through the anatomy of insects, you will find the well-developed tracheal system. Though insects doesn't have developed circulatory system, they have open circulatory system. But if you go through the respiratory system, it is very well developed. Each and every tissues will be provided with the tracheal tubes, so that the aeration will be very easier compared to other higher organisms. And even in the mouth parts, a lot of modifications, and especially in mosquitoes, it is highly complex and well-developed mouth parts. We will be discussing more on that. And it undergo metamorphosis, complete metamorphosis. That is also important adaptations, enabling the mosquito to be more successful. So, first of all, we'll see the morphological adaptations. Here,
Hello, sir. You are not audible now.
Actually, I have the another device. Yeah, now it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Hello, sir.
So
Yeah. Okay, fine.
adaptations.
Sir,
In that, especially in the
so now you are not audible again.
if you are unmuting the other one, then I will be comfortable because I am unable to unmute that.
Oh, which one?
So then I will. I am using two devices. You know, this is one, another one.
Okay,
That is
one
from
second.
mobile.
Yeah, now we can do that. Yeah.
Yes. Hope now it audible it is. Yes. Is it audible now?
Yes, sir. Fine. Yeah, perfectly all right. Yeah.
So in the abdomen also, normally actually the tergite and sternite, in between that, the pleurite, that is highly flexible, that will facilitate to accommodate more blood when that is going for hematophagy. That we'll discuss in detail in later. Here we can see the larval adaptations. That is also already discussed by the previous speaker. But here you can see the presence of the siphon as well as gills. The larva is not only, even though it is aquatic, it can respire air from the use oxygen from the air. It has adaptation for aerial respiration. Aquatic larvae has adaptation for aerial respiration. That is very interesting. That we'll see in detail. So anatomically, if you go through the digestive system, there also normally the predators won't be able to digest herbivorous diet if they are eating. But mosquito is they can sit to two modes. That is very important that we know. And their mouth parts, I already told, the labium can cover. Actually, they don't have a tube, but with the needles, with a bunch of needles, they are using in such a way to make a tube. That is also very interesting thing in mosquitoes. And as I told earlier, that respiration adaptation is very important, and sense organs, reproductive potential, digestion, that also a little bit I mentioned. So we'll move. So mosquitoes, normally we are using the term mosquito bite, but mosquitoes don't bite. They are piercing. They never sting or not at all biting, but they are piercing with the piercing and sucking type of mouth parts. So generally they are piercing. That is very unique type of feeding. And mosquito can feed 5 mg of blood. 2.5 mg of mosquito can double amount of blood they can feed. This also interesting feature of mosquitoes. They can digest while feeding itself. They can filter whatever the things important for their necessary things. Yeah. And here you can see the well-developed antenna with a very unique sense organs at the pedicel of the antenna. Here you can see the Johnson organ that is very important in their prey location, their host location. It play a major role. Here we can see the mosquitoes, larvae, saying as larvae as well as pupae. Whatever the weather inside, I will keep my siphon comfortably outside. Mostly if you go through mosquito control program, we have sufficient predators and even pathogens to control the mosquitoes. But the problem is the habitat in which mosquito larva is surviving, in that larva only can survive because the water level will be comparatively low or dissolved oxygen content. That is very important. Most of the wetlands, highly polluted, eutrophicated water may not support the fishes with gills, but mosquitoes with siphon, because they can exploit oxygen present in the air while they are in the aquatic environment. That is very important adaptation the mosquito larvae has that make the mosquito larvae to successfully complete its larval stage. Here you can see different species of common genus of mosquitoes and their position of siphon. Whenever we are observing the mosquito larvae, the position is always will be like this. It will be focusing the siphon outside. Even in case of pupae as well as larvae, it's a common feature. And another important thing that mosquito never used to migrate. That is very important thing we need to know. But they used to disperse even up to 22 kilometers, because though they are good, powerful flying insects, they can, as that is all the dipterans, they are good flyers because they have two wings and they have other two halters that is helping them to take off as well as land quickly. The presence of halter, here you can see the hind wings modified into halter, that is helping the dipteran, that is true flies, to take off as well as to land quickly. So whenever we are observing some mosquitoes piercing or sucking blood on our hand, whenever we are trying to attack, it will move faster than our movement. That is very important, because that is the presence of that halters helping them to take off swiftly. So, but still they can fly faster, but they are unable to travel long distance, but they are utilizing the passive transport. Like they will, by the wind, they can move passively up to 22 kilometers. And even they can travel along the continents. They are comfortable traveling with us, whether it is airbus, train or ships, whatever it is. That is very important. But normally they used to fly around 500 meters. So this is the movement of mosquitoes for long distance cannot be considered as migration, but it is dispersal. And normally why it is flying, this is for the mates, nectar, blood and oviposition site, resting site. So all these sites are very important. So how they are finding the host, that we already learned a lot of things. And here I want to mention this, even blood pressure, blood flow also, they can analyze. Whenever I'm going to field, whenever taking some photos, whenever I'm focusing on some target, the mosquitoes will be focusing on my hands, because in the hands, there will be blood flow will be more, there will be more metabolites, because energy requirement at that moment will be more in my hand. So they will exploit very nicely the host physiology, that is human physiology. They are very good physiologists. They can understand everything. And they can intercept 300 chemical substances produced by humans. There are here, we can find some examples. And as discussed earlier by previous speaker, the resistance is very important character that facilitate mosquitoes to survive better. Because if you go through the history, they are developing resistance to all the insecticides. That is very important, and they can tolerate. Their their optimum pH and salinity will be different, but they can tolerate certain fluctuation in salinity, temperature, pH, and even drought. So in case of drought, they will undergo diapause. By that, the egg and pupa and adult will be in the dormant stage. And now we move upon the behavioral as well as developmental adaptations. So they are endophilic as well as exophilic. So some mosquitoes are comfortable in living with us in our homes, but others will be comfortable outside. That is endophilic and exophilic. And because of our management practices, we are using a lot of repellents and chemicals. Because of that, these endophilic mosquitoes also become endophagic and exophilic. So they will bite, they will accidentally enter, they will carefully enter inside our home in right time, immediately find out the coast, take a blood meal, and immediately they will fly away from our home. That is endophagic and exophilic. And also, they don't have camouflage, that is color changing adaptation they don't have, but they will, whenever they are sitting on certain background, they will be, mostly they will be choosing the dark background so that it may not be easily located by its predators. And they never fear about man. They are very much comfortable with humans. If you take other insects, if a wasp accidentally enter into our house, what will happen? It will be confused, disturbed, and it will be worrying, and how it will be, how it can go out. It will be keep on going out through a glass window, and finally it will die. But mosquito never do like that. They are expert. They will find out even a small micro hole present in the building, because they are good anemotaxic, that we'll see. Then if you go through the larval adaptations, they have varied food habits, and mostly, as I told earlier, the not only in the habitat where mosquitoes are able to survive, there may not be predators, but also they don't have competitors, even though they will feed upon particulate matter, phytoplankton, microbes, and detritus. There are competitors like trichopterans, zooplanktons, tadpoles, snails. These are now, these can be used as a predators for controlling, as well as controphic species to control mosquito population. But the problem is the habitat where mosquito is surviving, in that these organisms may not be able to survive. And these mosquito larvae, in rare occasions, they can become a predators, maybe facultative as well as obligate. There are obligate predators that we already discussed by previous speaker. And there is reported cannibalism also there whenever the proper nutrition is not available, especially in the final larva instar stage, fourth instar. And swarming and mating, that is also very important thing when we need to look at on mosquitoes. Actually, if a swarm found by swarm of diphtheria flies, if it is located by a water net, for example, if a dragonfly locating the swarm of these mosquitoes, they will enjoy like a chicken biryani, a beautiful chicken biryani. They will not miss even a single mosquito. But what is happening? They are choosing the right time when there is less predator actions. That is very important. So dragonfly, mostly they are diurnal. They will be stop their activity in the dusk. But mosquitoes will be starting their swarming during the dusk, and it will be initiated by male. And we know male mosquito has more sensitivity in understanding the habitat, because even you can easily understand that by observing their antenna. They have very highly specific antenna compared to the female. So the male will be deciding swarming site, and male will also be helping the find out the host for the female. So in each and every home, there will be a swarming site. If in your home mosquitoes are coming, in your home there will be a swarming site. So in that, all the mosquitoes will assemble together. There will be competition for mating. It's a kind of nuptial flight, and there will be mating going on. Immediately after the mating, the female will be feeding, going for feeding, blood feeding. So here you can see the mosquito swarm, and it will be affected by heat, light, and time, all these things. And yeah, if you go through fitness of adult, as I told earlier, they are negative phototaxis. That is very important. Most of the insects, whenever in the anthropo-modified environment, light is the major problem for the survivability of many insects, those who are attracted by light. But mosquitoes mostly they never move towards light, but they will be moving towards air. That is anemotaxis. That is helping the mosquitoes to find the host very aptly. That is very important. And they are zoophilous, as I told earlier. They never afraid of human beings, and they have wide range of host from birds, mammals, everything. And in the reproductive system, if you go through, they have spermatheca. Most of the insects they have this. So here, this spermatheca helping the female to store the sperms for a long time. So female need not to mate all the time. If the female once it mates, and it is able to enter inside the home comfortably, and it can rest comfortably there, and it can keep on feeding. We will see in detail. So their oviposition skill, adult oviposition skill, is very, very sound, analytical, and well-developed oviposition skill. They are very cool in making decisions. That we'll see. So they prefer predator-free habitat. That is very important. So we can have all the mosquito larvicide and larvivorous predators. But if you are introducing that predators, whether it is a dragonfly nymph or maybe a mosquito or a larvivorous fish, whatever it is, in those habitat, our mosquito won't lay egg. That is very important. And even if other controphic species is in high density, there also mosquitoes may not lay eggs. And the presence of egg as well as larva, that is, they are comfortable there. If they found some eggs and larva in a particular habitat, if they are comfortable, these mosquitoes, they prefer such kind of habitat. Not only that, they are good chemists. They will sit on the surface of the water and they will drink it and test the water quality. Then it also helps as a hydraulic pressure, help the oviposition. That is especially in case of Anopheles and Culex, but in case of Aedes, they will be ovipositing on soil and vegetation based on the moisture. So this is a different genus. They are laying their different oviposition perspectives. We can see here. And about this hatching, incubation, and all, sir already discussed. So we'll move. And this behavioral adaptations, they can easily
Hello, sir. Now I think it is fine. There was a small interruption earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So here, other adaptations like interspecific adaptations, they used to go for egg diapers as well as synchronous hatching. Normally, we'll not find this synchronous. That is, the egg may be laid in different season and different interval. but it will be hatching at the same time. So immediately after good rainfall, what will happen? All the eggs, they will hatch together. And by the time, the number of predators as well as number of counterfeit species will be comparatively low. So there will be no competition, there will be no predation. And because of this high density, they will dominate the habitat and comfortably they will complete their larval period, because if the environment is supportive, they can complete their larval stage within 5 days. That is very important. And yeah, they need to share their resources, predators, as well as pathogens. That is there. Here we can see some of the counterfeit species as well as predators, and what will be the effect on it in laboratory as well as outdoor experiment. And in case of mosquito eggs, the tadpoles are very good predators. They can predate all the tadpoles. Mostly they can predate mosquitoes. That is also very interesting field, in that especially we NMCC students can do research in this, because we are in the foothills of Western Ghats. We are blessed with a lot of endemic species of amphibians, so they can do a lot of things what other cannot do all over the world. That is very interesting. So mosquitoes, for mosquitoes, lot of predators are there. Yeah, they are a very good prey, but the problem is the habitat they are exploiting. In that, all these predators won't be able to survive. That is very important. So this is a general mosquito management method. So here you can see this I have picture I have taken from our district only. It's a robber fly from the diphtheria. After blood feeding, this robber fly is predating on the mosquito, which fully flooded with blood. So it will, after feeding, see all the blood is gone. So this is also getting blood from the mosquito. So these are very interesting interspecies relationship in the mosquitoes. So we need to give importance to this. And their adaptations in the anthropogenic habitats, that is a very important thing we need to know. Why mosquito larvae is successful? They need a very short period, so they can complete their mosquito adult prefer the ephemeral as well as perennial wetlands also. But nowadays, the seasonal wetlands like rice field, because of the use of pesticides and weedicides, mostly it will be predator-free habitat. And polluted wetlands will be loaded with organic load, and there will be no survival. There is less possibility of survival of those predators as well as competitors. So anthropogenic habitats are predation and competition-free habitats with plenty of resources for mosquitoes. That is the main reason mosquitoes are successful in association with us. I got excited whenever I am observing mosquitoes in our own house, how it is exploiting all the things present in the home. So if it is entering into the house, what will happen? The swarming can be happen under the staircase, resting on the racks of cloths, and blood meal at the blood room, and oviposition in sink, bathroom, as well as toilet. Actually, they will exploit all the possibilities. They will take a lot of trials. Even in the sink, they will lay the eggs, or even in the toilet, the egg will be washed up, and it will be transported through the drainage or septic tank. Thereby, they will be successfully completing, helping their young ones. And there are other adaptations overall. They are complete metamorphosis, polyphagy. They can feed in larval stages, comparatively different feed. In adult, they have different feed, and likewise, they are having predatorless habitat, protected habitat. That is very important. And oviposition, interesting oviposition decisions that we already discussed. Yeah. So normally, whenever we are looking on mosquitoes, mosquitoes are very dangerous enemies. Like that, only we will be observing mosquitoes, and we will be always trying to kill the mosquitoes. Killing is not the solution in mosquito management. That is very important. Here we need to understand. Mosquito management is very simple. If we are practicing some simple things at our home, that we will see what we can do to control mosquitoes. So mosquitoes also doing pollination service for important orchids, and they are serving as a prey for different predators, as well as they are parasites. And even they are in detritivores. The larvae are detritivores, and they are in detritivorous food chain in the aquatic ecosystem also. Mosquito larvae play a major role. And there are, in a recent report says, mosquito bites can benefit human in many ways. If you want to know more about this, you can go through this article. And here you can see the mosquito with pollen, and here the orchid flower being pollinated by mosquitoes. And there are mosquito-inspired possibility of mosquito-inspired technology in the near future, because whenever we are going to hospital, even old age people also are afraid of the pain of injection. So mosquitoes can help us to overcome that issue, to find out painless injection by exploiting their mouthparts in the production of needles. And what is my responsibility? So we should use mosquito nets instead of other repellents, because those repellents may not affect mosquitoes, but it will affect the health of ourselves as well as our ecosystem. And we should have garden. It should be our responsibility. In Tamil, முல்லைக்கு தேர் கொடுத்தவன் பாரி, முல்லைக்கு தேர் கொடுத்த பாரி வாழ்கின்ற தமிழ்நாட்டில் வாழ்கின்ற தமிழர்களாகிய நாம் கொடி இல்லாத வீட்டில், செடி இல்லாத வீட்டில் குடியிருப்பதற்கு நமக்கு உரிமை இல்லை. So we should have garden, and we should have composting site. So we should recycle all the organic waste. That is very important. If we are recycling all the organic waste at our doorstep itself, then we may not polluting the aquatic ecosystem. Then wetlands will be free. There will be more diversity. There will be more predators for mosquitoes. Then less possibilities of establishment of mosquito larvae. That is very important. And we should avoid conspicuous consumption of countless colorful flowers. That is very problematic thing. So we should, as a biologist, we should be not only speaking a lot about pollution and all those things. We should use less colorful flowers or colorless flowers, and even less number of flowers. That will benefit our ecosystem. So we know that the dragonflies in our traditional home. If you go back to 20 years, 30 years back, in front of every home, you will find a ground that is for post-harvest technology for paddy and all other purpose. Muttam சொல்லுவாங்க. So in that will be the airport for landing these dragonflies. So they will nicely fly there, and they will feed all the mosquitoes. That is very important. But nowadays we are not helping these dragonflies, but we are killing indirectly by using pesticides and polluting the river. They are unable to survive. So that is very important thing. And research opportunities and how advantageous that is mosquito research. It is easy to do at the home level itself. Economically viable. You can easily maintain mosquito larvae even in our home, and their food web is very simple and habitat with well-defined boundaries. If you need to maintain a reptile or something, you need to make a lot of boundaries. You need to be very careful. But because the larva is aquatic, you can easily keep with well-defined boundaries, easily replicable experimentation, and a lot of behavior. And we can test all the ecological theory. And there are a lot of larvicidal, behavioral, predators, pathogens, lot of scope in the field of mosquito research. And what is the drawback? Most of the scientists, they are doing mosquito research, they are from medical background. They don't know the basic biology of insects and their adaptations. So they are trying in a different manner. So entomologists always thinking on killing the mosquito. They are targeting only mosquitoes. And botanists, they are concentrating on larvicidal activities. And but most of the times we are not worrying about their ecology, their adaptations, how we can utilize their abilities in the management that we need to think. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yes, Cuba, for the wonderful presentation with a lot of illustrations. I think we'll move ahead with the discussion part. If you have any questions, you can either use the hand raise option. I'll give you permission to unmute yourself and speak. And also, you can post your questions in the chat box. I think I found one question by Professor B. Tamil Selvi. Tamil Selvi madam has a question. Do the diapause undergone by the egg of mosquito is species specific? Kriba sir, you are muted now. You need to unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, in here I have explained a lot of adaptations. Most of the adaptations are species specific. Even in case of egg diapause, especially we can observe in the Aedes only, because it only laying eggs in the mostly in the land. And in case of others, Anopheles and other mosquitoes, there will be diapause will be there, but not this much. Maybe this much prolonged diapause may not be observed in my understandings.
Why mosquitoes are entering to our house at evening time than daytime? That's another question.
Yeah. So mostly we know that most of the mosquitoes are nocturnal. They are active in the nighttime, and they have infrared vision, and they can easily utilize the resources very comfortably without predators. That is.
Any other questions? I think there is one hand raise option. One or two, I think. Kishore sir, you can unmute and ask the question. Kishore sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, is there any possibility of this Delta variant and other particular viruses to be carried out by the mosquito? Because since not all type of virus will be the same.
Sorry, sir. Actually, my expertise not in those cases. Like in virus, I'm not. I don't have expertise.
Okay, sir. No, I mean to say, because the dengue virus and other particular viruses are being carried out by mosquitoes. So, is there any chance? Of course, the first coronavirus strain was not carried by mosquitoes, but because the mutants and the variants are coming more, so can we expect any role of mosquitoes in the other particular variants of this particular same virus? That's what I would.
Okay. So we need to read. We need to read about that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now let me ask.
Sir, I have one question, sir, please.
Yes, good.
Sir, for the eradication of adult mosquito, it is very difficult, really. Whereas for the egg stages and other larval instars, it is easy to eradicate by using various techniques. Of which one of the stages is most vulnerable to control?
Yeah. So actually, in larvae as well as adult, even in pupa, they have a lot of resistance in every stages, resistance to pesticide. And especially larval stage mainly will be in the aquatic ecosystem. So we cannot apply pesticides or different things in the large aquatic ecosystem. That will be very problematic. But in case of adults, actually, because as I told earlier, mostly they are exploiting all the habitats free from predators and those kind of things. The adult mosquitoes also using chemical pesticides, they are developing lot of resistance. That for every mosquitoes, we found a lot of data on that. But the thing is, using our natural predators and other competitors, that is very important. So if the aquatic environment is clean, then there will be a lot of competition for resources. Then mosquito larvae cannot be able to develop it. If they are developing also, may not be able to successful because of the lack of resources, and there will be more predators will be there. So in my opinion, is the best way of controlling mosquitoes is going through the ecological way, natural way, to restoring all our habitat. Only diversity can support diversity. That is the best solution.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But apart from, sir, apart from natural enemies and the predators, what are the chemicals now we are using to control the mosquitoes in the aquatic system or any other water bodies? Because already we have used the DDT some 4 or 5 decades earlier, but still we are finding the DDT in the residues of soil, water, and recently in Madurai Medical College, it has been reported that even the mother milk, it contains traces of DDT concentration. So when it is given to the babies are 100 times more vulnerable to DDT than the adult mothers. So what are the chemicals nowadays it is used against the mosquitoes? Whether it is the magnitude of the effect is very high or mild, what are the things?
Actually, the previous speaker is expert in those things. So if you contact him, he can answer you better. But the thing is, what I can say, the using chemicals, it is the time to think of not at all using chemicals. But now the lot of research is there with botanicals and biochemicals. So we need to go towards that. Maybe very soon we may get better botanicals, so that it will be less non-target effect as well as persistence will be very less time. So that will be we need we should expect those kind of things in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. K. Rajan, you have a question?
So good afternoon, sir. It is a very nice presentations. I have one doubt regarding the identification of mosquito. So in the Pondicherry, we have one region to identify the mosquito. Where it have any other region to identify the mosquito?
Actually, yeah, in Madurai also the center is there. There also they will help ICMR center. I think they will also will help. Other than that, the Zoological Survey of India people also will help you if you are contacting.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? There's one question from NS Jiva. Can you suggest any natural remedy to get rid of mosquito bite?
Natural remedy, mosquito bite. Yeah. Physical barrier is very good using a mosquito net, but natural remedy to avoid. Mostly because they are very good. I already told they are brilliant. If we are using any botanicals on our body also, whenever we are sleeping or some those times, if that ointment or that chemical is disturbed, it will locate the right place without chemical, and it can easily bite or pierce in that particular place, and they will bite and fly away. So natural remedy is best. Natural remedy is keeping our environment clean. That will be the best natural remedy, and supporting biodiversity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was indeed a wonderful session by Dr. S. Kriba. We are all enlightened by your presentation. It was good with a lot of illustrations and examples. And you have made the session very lively with the discussion part as well. So on behalf of the Department of Zoology and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of our college, I thank you so much for the wonderful session that you have delivered. Thank you, sir. I also take this opportunity to thank each one of you. Okay, let me, is there any other questions? Let me, before I go into the formal vote of thanks, Dr. Charlotte Bami, is there any other questions that you have found out, or anything that you want to share?
Yes, sir, there is one question.
Okay.
Me, my mom, and my brother is in same blood group, but mosquitoes always biting me more. Why? Biting me more. Why?
Sometimes same blood group, but the metabolism will be different. And even people with more sweating, if the skin is more soft and moisture is more, then the mosquito may prefer those persons. And also they will easily understand the nutrient qualities, nutrients, even pressure, everything they will be giving importance. So that is, they are expert in that. So a lot of research is needed to understand all those things.
In texture is also important.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the questions and the interaction. I think there is a comment in the chat box that the feedback link is not working. Dr. Charlotte Bami may kindly check whether the feedback is working, right?
Okay, okay, sir.
Maybe it just switched off that collecting responses. You may just check that once again.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think we don't have any other questions right now. I'm very happy that the participants had stayed, even though we had taken some more time, the participants had stayed till the end for the session. So that shows how involved you were in the presentation. So let me now thank everyone. At the outset, I'd like to thank God for helping us to go ahead with this program. I thank especially the correspondent of our college, Advocate L. Rajaduri, a person who is motivating us a lot to conduct online programs, especially during this lockdown period, by providing us all the necessary support. So on behalf of the organizers and Department of Zoology and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, and on behalf of all of you present here, I thank our correspondent, Advocate L. Rajaduri. Next, I would like to thank our dear principal, Dr. K. Paul Raj. He is also a person who motivates us a lot, and especially he has asked us to conduct many number of programs during this lockdown period for the benefit of the teaching and students of teachers and students of our college, but also for, to the welfare of the society at large. So I thank Dr. K. Paul Raj our dear principal. Today he was with us to give the presidential address also. So I thank you, sir. Next, I thank the head of the Department of Zoology, Dr. G.D. Biji, who is also the vice principal of our college, a person who is leading the Department of Zoology from the forefront with the team of staff members. I thank him. I thank the organizing secretary, Dr. Charlotte Bami, for the wonderful way in which she has arranged everything perfectly. Thank you, madam. I also thank all the staff members of the Department of Zoology, okay, the people who were part of the organizing committee. So I thank all the staff members of the Department of Zoology. I also thank the IQAC team, the members of the IQAC. And very specially, I would like to thank our two resource persons. They have really made this day a very successful one. The first session, which was taken by Dr. S. Senthilnathan, professor of Sri Parama Kalyani Center for Environmental Sciences, Alvar, Kurichi, under Manonmaniam Sundarnar University. So the first session threw light on the topic which was assigned, taxonomy and recent trends in the management of mosquitoes. So it was a very enlightening session. So I thank Dr. S. Senthilnathan once again on behalf of the organizing committee. And I also thank the second presenter, Dr. S. Kriba, who is the son of the soil, who is now currently working in the Department of Zoology of Madras Christian College at Tambara. We are very happy to have you as a resource person today for this national webinar. Your session was really enlightening. It has given a lot of information to the student community as well as the teachers and research scholars. Thank you so much, sir, for the way in which you have delivered the talk and also interacting with the participants. Thank you so much. Next, I thank all the participants who have come from all over India, from different places, research scholars, students, teachers. I thank each one of you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.